verdad, pero esta vez me separaron. Dijeron mucho, pero no se olvidaron de callarse. Cuánto odio por mi piel sembraron. Dijeron historia y la tergiversaron. Dijeron guerra, muerte, odio y nos culparon. Siempre. Enfermedades, epidemias nos contagiaron. Exterminación de mi fauna complace a tus mercados. Dijeron riqueza y todos se lo robaron. Oro, platino, diamante, a la fuerza se lo llevaron. Y la actualidad es tan triste que todo aquello que dijeron es lo mismo que hoy se dice más. ¿Quién dice, quién explota, quién se beneficia? El asesino, el mismo que da las noticias. Hay una cuenta fácil que siempre me da las grandes riquezas, de dónde vienen y hacia dónde van.
Independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao, independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao. Nati Dre es afroresistencia, cultura ancestral, afrodescendencia, solidaridad. Esa es la esencia, la diáspora africana eleva la conciencia, conciencia negra, universal, progresista y transcultural. Negros y mestizos revolucionando, pueblos caribeños y africanos en un solo bando. No más explotación, colonialismo interno, no más confusión, supremacía blanca en el Babilón. Soy rojo, negro y verde, afroliberación. Mientras más negro, más represión. Somos creadores, recupera tu visión. Mi misión es educar con amor, contra el silencio, vivo sin temor. Independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao, independiente como los Mao Mao, concluyente como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao,
como los Mao Mao. Somos resistentes como los Mao Mao.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? It's this. It's the Rise Up. It's the Rise Up morning show. You know what we do around here. We're in the building. We got a few good people with us today. Who we got with us? We got with us. I'm just messing up on this thing. You can tell our producer's not here today. Tell I'm not the producer. We get it twisted. My name is Kalanji Chung. I'm in the building alongside Fernando, Natasha, and Ikemba. Ikemba is here today, folks. So clap your hands and get excited. I know people are like, I can't believe that Ikemba's here. Lord have mercy. You know what I'm saying?
I was here the other day, brother.
You was here the other day? What other day, brother? The other day.
Yesterday.
Okay. Brother said he was here yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's cool, man.
Happy to see you, Kimba.
Yeah, word, man. I haven't seen you in a minute.
Yeah, brother. How you been, man?
Don't do me like that, y'all. It hasn't been that long.
I think Kimba's hair was as short as Natasha's last time I saw him. Now it's damn near as long as mine.
Out, right? That's
beard and everything. Man.
Hey, it feels good to be back though with the people, Black power. I feel the energy in the air.
We appreciate that. I like those headphones, brother.
Yeah, you know, trying to stay sharp for the people. That's all.
Okay, man. Say trying to stay sharp. That's that Brooklyn sharp, right?
Trying to inspire, you know, motivate,
trying to inspire them to get just as sharp as you. I understand. I hear you, Akimbo.
Okay. Talk about it, Kimba. Are you as sharp as Mayor Eric Adams? What's happening with that guy?
Oh, that dude, boy. I was waiting for this, man.
He's waiting for what? For it to go down?
For them to get, because they so worried about people hopping the trains, $2.90 fares. Yes. But your mayor doing all of this dirt. How about y'all go and arrest that man? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
they did, and they will now that they've indicted him.
I mean,
we'll see. We'll see
New,
what happens.
New York's first sitting mayor. I mean, what's up?
Yeah.
For folks who aren't familiar, can y'all give us some education? Because we saw Natasha gave us a train tour. Y'all missed it. Y'all ain't get to.
Yeah, y'all missed it.
Y'all ain't get to check it out. You know, she said this is what a real train look like. Y'all down in Atlanta, y'all got the MARTA. There ain't no real train.
Now, that's very true. Atlanta's public. I don't know what y'all doing out here.
Yo, chill.
But in France, yeah, they have a real subway station. Okay. But Atlanta, I don't know what y'all doing.
All right, the South is coming up. All right.
But that is set tripping.
Philly ain't got no subway, dude.
I'm not a rider for I'm not a rider for any of these systems anyway. I just ride them.
Okay,
I don't ride for them.
I was gonna say, sound like y'all set tripping for a minute. I'm about to get like Boona, be like, I'm the only African on here. Shout out to Boona. You know what I'm saying? You better leave Boona alone. You know what I'm saying? We'll always love Big Boona. Boona, shout out to Boona. Shout out to Isaac. You know what I'm saying? Or as my brothers in France say, Isaac. You know what I'm saying? In the building. Isaac probably somewhere mad. You know how he do. He be spazzing out. Like, wow. He might be in the chat now.
He might be looking right now. He might be watching it.
Exactly. You watching this on tech. So
in New York, I don't know how many people have been following, but it's been going on for a couple months now when they started to first investigate. It was a couple months ago where they took, his phone and the phones of his closest advisors, and they had confiscated a lot of material. But at that point, it was just people were, they were just saying that they're looking for something. They're starting an investigation. But then a couple weeks ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago, I think, the chief of police, he resigned. And then a couple days after that, one of his closest aides, she resigned. And then David Banks recently, I believe he resigned. I might be wrong, but I believe he also resigned. And then, so once that was happening, it just started, you just knew like this was imminent. So when the news came out this morning, I wasn't surprised, but I will say that we know, just like historically, currently, that whatever's going on, we know that this is something that, as much as they try to pretend politics within the United States is not corrupt, but politics everywhere else is, politics in Africa is so corrupt, politics in, Latin America is so corrupt, as if it's not here in America. And we know that many mayors, I'm sure many mayors, because they all be playing the same game, that many mayors before him probably doing similar to whatever was going on or whatever the case may be. But we also know, when you're a Black person and you think that you can do the same things and that you're gonna, get away with it, that's not happening.
Yeah. So do you all think that they jammed him up because he was about to buy a Tubi?
Was he supposed to buy a Tubi? Is that a
Well, they said Bill Cosby was trying to buy NBC, and so I figured maybe Mayor Adams was trying to buy a Tubi. But anyway, they always say with somebody Black, he's about to do something. Puffy was about to buy the Playboy channel. There's all kinds of crazy shit.
Right. Yeah, that's what they say.
So it's funny because this case, they're saying prosecutors allege that Adams accepted over $100,000 in undisclosed gifts, such as luxury travel from Turkish business people and at least one Turkish government official. They said this was a multi-year scheme to buy favor with a single New York City politician on the rise. That's what Eric Adams allegedly said, right? So I'm thinking about, of course, they said he was getting all kinds of resources and whatnot, funds and all of that, and exotic trips, and folks getting them free business class trips, him and someone else from New York to China. They said he's accused of accepting free business class trips for himself and two others on round trip flights from New York to France. I guess he's going to see Boona and Fernando, Turkey, Sri Lanka, and China. The same month, he allegedly accepted a steeply discounted stay at the Bentley Suite of the St. Regis Istanbul. I mean, he was doing his thing, so he was living pretty good, is what they were saying. It reminds me, when they're saying he's taking his money, it kind of reminds me of the accusations they made against Chairman Omali Yeshitela. I'm sure that his charges won't be anything like Omali's because Omali was coming with a different politic. What y'all think about that?
I definitely don't think that I definitely agree with you that I don't think his charges will be like Omali's, but I do think that they will be seeking to make an example out of him. And so I do think that it's going to be a whole is going to be, I mean, it's already big because of the fact, like you were saying, he's currently a sitting mayor, and they're even talking about, whether or not Kathy Hochul, who's, the governor of New York, is going to remove him, and, what that process will be like and who might be replacing him. So it's definitely going to be big. And I think they're going to seek to make an example out of him in that kind of way.
Yeah, I agree with you, Natasha. I definitely think they're going to try to make an example out of him. But, it's funny how, all these guys, man, really, when you're working for empire, like what is it really to be corrupted, right? It's kind of like, it's kind of a game they play, but it is true. Like Natasha said, like, they say that all these countries in South America and in Africa are all corrupted. They mentioned that a lot, right? And then, but the thing is, like, when these leaders are corrupted in South America and in Africa, who are they working with? Right? The corruption is how are they corrupted? And they're working with they're usually working against their own people. They're working with with Europe, with the United States, and that's where the corruption is coming from. So it's really like ironic how they're like, always trying to speak about other nations being corrupted. And
right. And they love jacking up black mayors anyway. I'm thinking about Kwame Kilpatrick. Kwame Kilpatrick, I think he did like 7 years out of 28 that he was sentenced to. So but I think the thing I'm interested in seeing the reaction of black folks. I'm interested in seeing how many black folks are going to get behind this dude, because we already know folks like KRS-One, and I think we was just talking about this a few days ago, calling him the hip hop mayor and all this type of shit. And folks was out there, and he had folks like Russell Simmons, who was wanted at the time, out at the press conferences with him. You know what I mean? And he's a former cop, but as we say, once a cop, always a cop. But I'm very interested in seeing how black folks flip the script if they go Kamala Harris or is Griff. What was Griff calling her yesterday? I mean, the other day, Kamala. The name of her husband.
Give another name.
Something like that. The name of her husband.
Shout out to Professor Griff. Y'all missed his show on Wednesday. His show, Kimber just started laughing. That's how you know it's a problem. If you missed his show, Arm the Masses, on Wednesday, Griff was definitely busting shots. You know what I'm saying? It's the perfect title, Arm the Masses, because he definitely was letting off some rounds. So if you missed that, make sure you check it out. Also, check out yesterday's Rise Up morning show. I believe Ikemba and was it you and Isaac yesterday?
Isaac. Yeah.
The eyes on it.
Definitely.
Word up.
Check that out. But on the topic though of Eric Adams, when I look at what's happening with Adams, I feel, just from experience in Philadelphia, the corruption is deep. You mentioned what took place in Detroit with their mayor. In Philadelphia, they were cleaning house about 5-6 years ago. I remember when I moved back from New York to Philadelphia, and there was election. It was around election time, and people from Shaka Fattah, who ran for mayor at one time, and someone who served, I think, as a U.S. rep for years. I mean, he's been in politics for decades, and this is someone who was sentenced to like 8 to 10 years. This is somebody who's dug in, from the streets. John Street brother got caught up in the scandal. His son. And there was some city council people and state reps. There was just a lot of corruption that they were rooting out. But the thing is, and I think, Natasha, you touched on it, it's not like it's an anomaly. It's not like it isn't happening. I feel as though someone is just blowing the whistle. If somebody says something, then the government has to do something. They can't ignore it. If somebody blow the whistle or tip them off that this is happening, then okay, now we have to investigate and we have to do something. But it's not as if this isn't happening across the nation. You know, this is for me, these people get in these positions of relative power so that they can have access to these resources, you know, so that they can, you know, go on these trips and not have to, you know, spend their own money, spend taxpayers' money. You know, there was one representative in Philadelphia. Someone, I think her man brought her a diamond, or she brought someone a diamond ring, and she ended up with taxpayer money, and she ended up bailing out. So they didn't even investigate any further, which was crazy. It's like, so she resigned from her position, so they didn't investigate anymore. But if she would have continued to run, and this is someone who was in office for years, I can't remember the sister name, but it was a West Philadelphia representative. But the point is that, you know, this corruption, Eric Adams isn't the first mayor. You can't tell me all of these other mayors weren't using their position of power to gain access to resources. And the thing which you had raised earlier, this is different from it's definitely different from what they were charging the chairman with. And I don't think that they're saying that elections were being swayed. I think you mentioned to gain favor, but I mentioned this before. You look at the Justice Department and the indictments that have gone out against these multinational corporations. I mean, there's so many of them. This is something that is happening a lot, but it's not in the news. You know, what's in the news is if a black brother or a sister shoot another black brother or sister, that's big news. But this corporation that's in Brazil and Congo who got caught trying to gain favor for contracts, so they're paying off. They're giving, you know, the president or politicians, you know, resources so that they can gain favor to get contracts and have to pay millions of dollars in fines. You know, like that's not on the news. So, you know, it's just a serious contradiction, I think, there. But, you know, Eric Adams, he's not doing nothing that nobody else has done. Somebody got tired of his ass. It was like, you know what? All right, I know what I'm gonna do.
So, will you be selling free Eric Adams T-shirts or?
Yo, that's the other thing. Great. I'm glad you said that, because you had raised something. That's why we can't get caught up in this race. You know, this thing with race. Everybody black. You know what they say: all skin folk and kinfolk. You know, I remember somebody recently, they put together this event. I'm rooting for everyone black. And me and some comrades went over there. We had to sum that up for them, you know, because how can you be for someone that's black who is waging war against the black community? Like, that's a serious. That don't even make any sense. You know, you support him, but they not supporting Kamala Harris. None of them. They not support. They could care less about the black community. But now, when it's time, you know, to get black support, now I'm black. You know. Now you want to put your black, you want to play the black card, the race card. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Because I mean, we know that Adams, he was bringing back some of the same policies that Giuliani had. Those, you know, under a different name, that was you know, affecting our community the most. When we talk about what's going on with the MTA and all that other stuff, so we already know, and you know, like you were saying, Akimba, that we have to be real choosy about who we decide to elect and put in positions, you know, just because they're saying like they're black, because we know that's part of the way that they that was just part of another one of their tactics. When we think about how they've pushed out, when we were talking, we had the show the other day on talking about Black Studies. They did the same thing with Black Studies, right? Pushing out those who are really revolutionary and those who are really about the community, and those who, you know, came into these spaces of these academic spaces, these educational spaces, to really bring.
We lost him.
Bro.
Tasha froze up.
Yeah. But you know, like the people that the colonizers don't want us to study, you know, the Malcolm X's, the Huey P. Newtons, the Franz Fanons, they already put us on to game. You know what I'm saying? Like Kwame Nkrumah, neo-colonialism, you know, white power and blackface. Like, we've been put on the game. So we see, you know, Malcolm said that, you know, the days is over when a black person can come in the community. You know, I wish those days was over, but he was putting us on the game in the 60s. A black person come in the community, you know, and exploit, you know, the community. You know, like those days is over, man, for a white person to do it or a black person to do it. They should be over. But you know, like that's what's happening, man. And people are playing this race card. We just got to be a lot more, a lot smarter, a lot more conscious of what's really taking place, man.
No doubt, no doubt. So we're gonna go to a quick break in a second. I want to invite people to make sure they download the latest issue of the magazine, Afropiq. You know what I'm saying? We have some real dope articles. This is Afropiq magazine volume 2. You can actually get it by becoming a patron. Go to patreon.com/Black Power Media Reloaded. Patreon.com/Black Power Media Reloaded. Now you can become a patron for free on Patreon. However, if you'd like to contribute, we wouldn't be mad at you about that either. We have a dope piece right now with speech from Arrested Development on the cover. We have a cover story with him. We have Julie Dexter. Folks aren't familiar with Julie Dexter. She is a UK artist. She's here in Atlanta, whatever. And she has some real dope materials. Been putting out great music for years. We have a few other articles. One of our main articles, Hidden History, the Independent Party of Color, PIC, is actually done by the brother on the screen that's currently under me, my brother Fernando. So Fernando has him and his partner Vladimir. They have a real dope article, a historical article that we think that people should definitely check out. He actually they translated. I believe it was originally written in Spanish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We wrote the article first for a Pan-Africanist magazine from South America called Gente Negra, Black People. And so, you know, we definitely thought it was an important story, an important piece that needed to be translated to English. So, yeah, it was definitely dope for us to be able to have it on Afropiq. But it's an important story, you know. The Independent Party of Color is the first Black political party in the Western Hemisphere. They were founded in 1908 in Cuba, and you know, there was a huge massacre as the government didn't want to. They started gaining popularity because we know that after the first revolution where we got the independence from Spain down in Cuba, there was still too much inequality for our people, for Africans in Cuba. And so these brothers that have fought in the war, you know, the Mambises, they had to get together and form a political party. The government wasn't having it. And so in 1912, you know, there was a massacre, but people rose up. The people rose up with the party. And so thousands of Afro-Cubans were murdered throughout the island. And it's something that very few people actually know about, whether in Cuba or outside of Cuba, but it's an important piece.
No doubt. We appreciate you all's contribution to the magazine, Afropiq Cultural Resistance. That's what it's all about. It is the print version. It's not the same as Black Power Media, but it's Black Power Media's print version of one of the things that we're doing right now. So make sure you check that out. Shout out to my daughter Kepra Ma'at for the logo design. She designed that particular logo that you see there. So I'm definitely grateful for her contribution. Again, you're checking out the Rise Up International Morning Show. Again, you can get that particular issue and the first issue at patreon.com. It's scrolling at the bottom /Black Power Media Reloaded, patreon.com/Black Power Media Reloaded. We have that. We have plenty of new shows that'll be popping up on BPM, on Black Power Media. Make sure you subscribe to Black Power Media Reloaded on YouTube and spread the word because we got work to do. We have books, films, the whole nine. We're coming hard. I give thanks for these good people that's on the screen right now. We're going to be right back with you. Rise Up Morning Show. Stay tuned.
Rise up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot Isaac ain't here today, so I'm gonna have to do some button pressing myself. So why would I do something like this right here?
For the first time in our history here, you find we have a tendency to want to come together. For the first time, we have a tendency to want to work together. And up till now, no organization on the American continent has tried to unite you and me with our brothers and sisters back home. At no time, none of them. Marcus Garvey did it, they put him in jail. They framed him, the government framed him and put him in jail. Marcus Garvey tried. The only fear that exists is that you and I, once we get united, will also unite with our brothers and sisters.
Journey was to Mecca to make myself an authentic Muslim and to bring them there up to date on the problems that our people who are Muslims have. Soon as we established our religious authenticity with the Muslim world, we set up the Organization of Afro-American Unity and took immediate steps to make certain that we would be in direct contact with our African brothers on the African continent. So the first step that has been taken, brothers and sisters, since Garvey died, to actually establish contact between the 22 million black Americans with our brothers and sisters back home was done by two organizations. Done first by the Muslim Mosque, which gave us direct ties with our brothers and sisters in Asia and Africa who are Muslims. And you know we've got to unite with them because there are 700 million Muslims. And we sure need to stop being the minority and become part of the majority. So, as Muslims, we united with our Muslim brothers in Asia and Africa, and as members of the Organization of African or Afro-American Unity, we set out on a program to unite our people on this continent with our people on the mother continent. And this frightened many interests in this country. Many people in this country who want to see us the minority and who don't want to see us taking too militant or too uncompromising a stand are absolutely against the successful regrouping or organizing of any faction in this country whose thought and whose thinking pattern is international rather than national, whose thought pattern, whose hopes and aspirations are worldly rather than just within the context of the United States border or the borderline of the United States. So this has been the purpose of the OAAU and also the Muslim Mosque, to give us direct links, direct contacts, direct communication and cooperation with our brothers and sisters all over the earth. And once we are successful in uniting ourselves with our people all over the world, it puts us in a position where we no longer are a minority who can be abused and walked upon. We become a part of the majority. And then if this man over here plays too rough, we got some brothers who can play as rough as he. So that's all I have to say about that.
What's happening, good people? That was
Kalanji.
I actually was putting up I was putting something else up. So Natasha beat me to the buttons. Fernando not paying attention to the chat, but it's all good.
I added myself, man. I ain't got no time.
I was paying attention to Malcolm.
I ain't got no time to be messing around.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
You just hit it with I was paying attention to Malcolm. Oh, okay. Now you want to pay attention to Malcolm. Let's see how this thing going. Anyway, check it out, the Rise Up Morning Show. Clearly, some of us still asleep, but it's all good. We here.
We got you. You know, this is a team.
Thank you. Hey man, you know what I'm saying? When I wake up with a hat like this on, you already know what time it is.
when it's not on straight, when it's a little off to the side.
I ain't even look in the mirror. Just took a shower, washed my face, brushed my teeth, hopped on. I said, whatever I look like, I ain't even look in the mirror. You know what I mean? In fact, I forgot I had a hat on until the show started. So anyway.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah. So, you know, what Malcolm spoke about right there was key. You know, the fact that we need to organize and wherever it is that we are, wherever African people are, you know, and he also speaks about, you know, he had his the Afro-American unity, and I heard him speak in other speeches about how, you know, people hear Afro-American, they only think about the United States, right?
Yeah.
But we understand that, Brazil is the second largest country with the most Africans in the world, and it's in America, right? South America. So the importance of us being organized, because we also recently saw how, the vicious state of the United States, murdering, a brother. And this is also this shows how we need to be organized. We can no longer afford to not be organized as African people, right? And we're seeing the importance of organization and unity right now with the United States of Sahel, right? What's going on over there? And we have to understand that the West is going to be targeting this union that's going on in the Sahel states, because it poses great threat to U.S. empire, to European empire, and so they're constantly finding ways to attack Burkina Faso, and the rest of the Sahel state. But we do have an article here about, it says Burkina Faso says it has foiled plot to destabilize the country, right? So in mid-July, Burkina Faso's leader Ibrahim Traoré stated that he has evidence of a coordinated attempt by France, supported by the Benin and Côte d'Ivoire, to destabilize his country. Burkina Faso thwarted an attempt to destabilize the nation, the country's Minister of Security, Mamadou Sana, said on Monday evening. Below is the plan for the infiltration of several terrorist cells, according to the minister. 1. The first cell of 200 people was to launch an offensive from August 30 to advance towards Ouagadougou and take control of the presidential palace of Kosiyam. 2. Another unit, made up of heavily armed mercenaries, was to destroy the air defense systems around the capital. 3. A third, coming from the southern border, was ordered to sow chaos in the Bobo Dioulasso area. So this is just constant. For other units were to storm key infrastructure, including the international airport, to cancel any external support. The plot was attached by former senior officials and foreign powers, as well as civilians residing in Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana. The list of people involved was also revealed by Sana. So we got the former president, former minister, former president of the Independent National Electoral Commission, former deputy mayor of Dori, military officers, including Commander Joanny Compaore and Colonel Zala. This plot was supported by the Western powers, terrorist groups, and European mercenaries, the minister further stated. The participants plan to exfiltrate their families from the country before the start of their operation, he said. Sana advised these families to denounce these plans and dissuade them from continuing on this destructive path. So yeah, this is real. This is constantly going on. Like I said, this article shows some examples, but I've heard there's a lot going on as well, in Niger and Mali. So this is serious. How do y'all feel about that?
I think Kalanji is trying to say something.
He's muted.
By the time I caught it, and then I was like, okay, nobody noticed. And he came like, Kalanji.
I'm on it, man.
Listen,
I'm on it.
He's on it.
I'm on high alert right now.
We're not going to tell you about how Kimba's late every single week. When he does come.
I was here at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
Come on, now.
Right.
Don't listen to them. Hey, when y'all got on at 8 o'clock, y'all saw me.
See, I forgot what I was going to say. I was about to say something real profound, but but no. Of course, we're not surprised.
Yeah,
and you know, the beautiful thing I think for a lot of folks, particularly people who watch the show and people who, you know, might not have been into history or politics as a whole. Like I mentioned from time to time, of course, if you live in the United States, you get this this cursory glance of politics. You get this false narrative, and you know, if you don't know no better, you would think that France is just such a beautiful place, and you know, yes, Paris is for lovers and all this other bullshit. And when you hear about how ruthless, you know, it reminds me of Jay-Z when he said something. He said, I don't know what you think. Them dudes is foul just like us. You know what I'm saying? France is just as foul as the U.S.
Yep.
They look weak and they look soft. I'm talking about these white boys, but they are as equally as ruthless. You know, they practice the assault, murder, invasion tactics that every other European country practices. They believe in violence as a measure and a method, not an alternative, because sometimes you look at it like, oh, well, they were defending themselves. No, they are warmongers, just like the rest of these bastards. So we appreciate the fact that you living in France, living under that particular plantation, you know, I dare call it an empire, but under that particular plantation, and just seeing how in real time the measures and the tactics that they're using to destabilize this particular legitimate government, this particular united front, you know, between these nations, and how the thought of true African sovereignty is a threat to white hegemony. Is an absolute threat. They don't have to do anything. All you have to do is say you want to be independent.
Yep. And
that you want to control the resources, you want to control the production, and you want to control the distribution of your wealth. You don't want France to get so much money off of every dollar. You don't want taxation without representation. You don't need French banks to hold your money. And the world doesn't see a problem with it. You understand? So of course, what's going on in Palestine is going to go on. Of course, what's going on in the Congo is going to go on. Of course, what's going on in the Sudan is going to go on. Of course, what's going on a New York City subway, a subway in Brownsville, a train in Brownsville where people can't even ride the train without being shot by the police because of an alleged fare jump. You know, following that case, they was talking about dude had a knife or whatever. And then they said, well, we didn't find that knife. We found another knife. They couldn't even decide which knife to plant. What kind of knife is it? He had a Boy Scout knife. No, he had a machete. He had a butcher knife. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the deal. So yeah, Eric Adams should get locked up. The police should be locked up. And these French bastards who are trying to terrorize these nations and the Negroes who side with them, because it's an act of fear.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've been talking a lot about on this platform as of late was snitches. In the Atlanta case, just juxtaposing that situation with the rappers Young Thug and the whole YSL thing. One of the things they talked about is how the attorneys were in cahoots. Matter of fact, Fonnie Willis, who is the prosecutor who was attempting to prosecute Trump and who laid out the indictment for these RICO charges for these youngsters out here, she was actually an attorney for a couple of folks that's being charged in the RICO case that she put together. Some of those are her former clients. First of all, you talk about contradictions.
Yeah.
But secondly, they talked about how these folks were different people was offered deals just to say whatever, and just sign on a dotted line and we'll let you go. Of course, you've been held over a year and some change or whatever. Some of these people ready to go home. Then next thing you know, they said they were snitching. Those cases where some of the folks was like, yo, well, what does this mean on line 8? I don't agree with that. And the lawyer's like, I just signed it. I'll explain to you later. Like it was a record deal. So next thing you know, they're looking to have bounties put on these kids' head because now they're being labeled snitches. When in fact, that wasn't part of the plan. They didn't have nothing to tell. I'm saying that to say, you read a list of individuals who was down with the plot. Africans who were right inside of the colony. But out of jealousy or hatred or whatever the case is, out of getting a check like these Kenyan soldiers wanted to get for running up in Ethiopia, they sold their soul for 33 pieces of silver. But even Judas had the good sense to kill himself.
Yeah.
But these bastards are too greedy for that.
You mean Haiti, right? Or was they trying to run up in Ethiopia too?
No, I meant Haiti. My bad, brother.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm like, damn, these kids.
That's what I was thinking too. But
yeah. Look,
they moved on. They moved on. It wouldn't be a surprise.
Hey, listen. Right. Yeah. So I might have predicted something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we already know Ethiopia been under attack for the longest. You know what I'm saying? They mad because they're independent. It's funny I said Ethiopia because Ethiopia is one of the places that hadn't been conquered. And so the relationship between Ethiopia and Haiti, as far as just the independence, that was a slip. But at the same time, who the hell knows? We'll have no idea what these crackers apply. But anyway, y'all can go ahead. I know I went on a rant, but it's just like, I mean, their evil knows no bounds, and it's just like, we're like, I mean, we're looking like victims.
I think that when you were pointing out and also connecting back to what Malcolm had said, that Fernando was pointing out in terms of African unity, Afro-American and African unity, and just thinking about the quote that Malcolm talked about when he said, there can be no black-white unity until there is first, black unity, right? That we have to first get on the same page with ourselves and make sure, that we're backing each other and that we are clear. And like we were talking about even before, right? Clear on who of those within us are for us, so that we build that strength and that unity, and also getting people who are confused about whether or not they should be for us. I mean, that shouldn't even be when you know that you're black and that black people are catching hell, like Malcolm said, that should already alert you to be like, okay, well, there's something here. I should be on the side of black people. But the fact that, even though in your country you see black people catching hell and you've seen them catching hell for so long, that's why when we think about Burkina Faso and we think about them kicking out the French, military was in there for so long, helping to destabilize the country, but putting on a facade that they're actually helping the country. And so now here you have someone who's decided that no, they're no longer going to put up with this. The country, the people will no longer put up with this, and that they're going to get them out, and that they, since the change of power within Burkina Faso, the terrorists and their actions have declined within the country. But yet you have Africans who are in there knowing this and still saying, well, you know what, we're going to help participate in destabilizing the country so it can go back to the way that it was, so that it could be easily destabilized, easily infiltrated, so that the people could be easily taken advantage of, easily oppressed, easily abused, right? And so just in terms of thinking about that and thinking about the need for for us as a people to really focus on making sure that we're building that unity between us. I think sometimes people get caught up, like these African people clearly got caught up in thinking about where their alliances alliances are outside of their people, outside of, you know, their what's the best interest of their country, and thinking that these people who are outside of your country, that their destiny is directly connected to yours. No, their destiny is directly directly contradictory to yours, so that if you lose, they win. But you thinking that, oh yeah, you know, like you said, for a couple pieces of silver, for, you know, for whatever you're going to get, a house, a car, you know, maybe you get to go vacation in these places, you know, other places that they've colonized, that they continue to still oppress, that, you know, you're willing to sell out your country and the people of your country to do these things. It's, you know, it's crazy. And I think that's why, you know, it really points to the fact that we really do need to really focus and really build that, like, that unity within and amongst ourselves. I think there's so much that's always pushing us and telling us that, oh, you know, we have to unify with these people. We have to unify with these, like, it's always pulling us in so many directions. While in our house, it's a mess.
Yeah.
You know, so I think this story, it points to the fact that, you know, we really gotta like we gotta clean house in more ways than one.
And Malcolm pointed out that, you know, that's the real threat. The realest threat to empire is African unity, true African unity. You know, when we organize locally and then we connect internationally, that's it right there. That's what they truly fear.
You know? And I just one other thing. Sorry, come back. I don't know if you were going to say something.
Tell her to apologize. She got the next story. She's trying to talk her way out of it. But go ahead.
No, but what I was going to say is when you brought up the point about sovereignty, I think that a lot of the times that people see the United States and European countries as being the ones who have a right to sovereignty, no matter what, by any means. So when we think about the United States and anything happens to the United States, people are like, yeah, let's, you know, they can't do that to us, blah, 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 blah. Want to protect U.S. sovereignty. But what about everyone else's sovereignty? That don't matter. If you're an African nation, all of a sudden your sovereignty don't matter.
That's
the U.S. times have like, you know, threatened to say, like, if you come to this hemisphere, and they've literally said it, right? If you come to the Western Hemisphere, your other European nations, we're gonna take that as a threat, and it's on. Like we finna go to war.
It is some shit.
But if another country that is
everybody's cool with it. Everybody's cool with it.
Exactly. Everybody's cool with it. Everybody all of a sudden understands when it comes to the U.S. having its own sovereignty or European country having its own sovereignty. Everyone's like understands. They're ready. They're ready to take up arms if you need them to. They're ready for all of that. But when it comes to other countries, especially countries, African countries like, you know, in Latin America, where you have large populations of people who are not white, who are indigenous, who are Black, who are Afro-Latino, all of a sudden, no, they're doing too much. They shouldn't be doing that. They need to do this. They need to take their time. They're all of this. All of a sudden, we don't have the same energy.
Right on. You check out the Rise Up Morning Show. And this is what we do every morning. You know, we got these crazy people started, and I don't know who got them started. I don't know why. I know Kimber got 38 cents to put in this real quick, but let's go. Let's hop on this next story, and then we go from there, because I think that we need to at least squeeze one more in. You know, since we're doing a shorter version of the joint today.
All right, love it. I'm gonna share my story, and then after I share it, Kimber, you could be the one to give your your position on it. No.
Kimber's like, what?
Kimber like, why everybody keep saying my name?
But yeah, so as far as the story that I'm covering today, it's about Chad. And so it's the story talks about how Chad is denies information about imminent return of U.S. troops to the country, in particular because they had initiated a review of its security cooperation with the U.S. And so from that, they the Pentagon had announced that the U.S. contingent was going to be withdrawing from Chad, and that it was going to be affecting, as this says here, 75 U.S. military personnel. But then there were reports that were coming that were saying that the U.S. Might return to the country, but they're saying, like, Chad saying like, wait a minute, no, where is that information coming from? And so Chad's foreign minister, Abdurrahman Kulamala, I'm just gonna I have to practice these things, has refuted the U.S. General Kenneth Ekman of the U.S. Africa Military Command, AFRICOM, regarding the return of U.S. troops to his country, allegedly at the request of N'Djamena. He said that there has been no contact between the military departments, and we categorically deny this information. We have not discussed it with the American government, the return of its troops to Chad. So that was a statement that he made. So, they also talk about like Chad being a sovereign state, and that they're the ones who are the masters of their decisions, not anybody else, especially when it comes to security and military operations with other international countries and international partners. And so it also talked about how the former Interior Minister, Ibrahim Al-Lasil, said that the public opinion in the country is against French military presence and that U.S. troops are not coming back. And so we know that the United States has about 800 military bases around the world. That's more than any country within the world. And so for them to be, wanting and trying to force this military presence within Chad is ridiculous. But we know that it's, again, part of continuing to keep your empire, that empire that is there in ways that people, may not understand or may not immediately connect the dots for, because, you just paint it as, oh, it's just, a couple of troops there. So basically, Chad is saying, no, the French troops need to leave. And also, we're not really interested in having American troops in our country anyway. And that it's up to them. They're putting themselves in a position to really fortify and practice their sovereignty when it comes to that, especially when we know that, the U.S. really wants to have its military in every country in Africa that it can have it, in every country around the world that it can have it in, because it's always doing things that it is afraid will come back to it, and it needs to have the military to go against that.
100%.
No, absolutely. That's like in the U.S., making sure that they have that military presence in the form of police, in our community. Make sure some go down, they have somebody right there to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. But also just like, just thinking about the U.S. and Africa, there we've had discussions about them vying for position in Africa, this competition, this new scramble for Africa that's taking place. Actually, it's a continuation of the old scramble for Africa. But you have, these multinational corporations who are all throughout Africa, and that is backed by the military regimes of the West, of China, of Russia, but these people are competing. Africa is their backyard. But just tying it to the other story as well, one of the things I'm just thinking, just looking at what's happening globally, and it's I just want to say, like, it's the state of the world. I don't know if I ever felt what's taking place globally now, at least during my time, felt that the world was on the brink of like a World War III, as it is now, with so much taking place, these proxy wars, or whatever you want to call it, if it's full-blown proxy or not. There's definitely this there's these conflicts that are taking place around the globe that has some serious implications, to Ukraine and Russia, And if you've been following, there's this talk about Ukraine. If they get the okay to fire long-range missiles into Russia, then Russia, they ready to bring nuclear weapons into the conflict, and they're going to look at it as an act of aggression from the United States and NATO, right? And so when we look at Russia, who's has a presence all throughout Africa, I think at least 30 African countries, Russia has some sort of involvement in. So if the U.S. and Russia, if they're fighting this Cold War, they're in conflict with each other, that's going to spill over on the African continent. And so if the United States, if they're in Chad, of course they want to be in Chad. They want to be in other places. Of course, now when we look at what Ukraine, if they're supporting terrorism in Burkina Faso, right? Where's the U.S.? Where are they positioned in this in this conflict? So I don't know. It's just like I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm just like looking at everything that's happening globally and the direction that we're going right now. And so it is important that Africa get unified. We better get in the game. You know what I'm saying? We need to definitely unite. But one thing though, as you were talking to Natasha, that came to mind, and that's why I got a lot of thoughts, because I was saying a lot. But I was just, again, going to African unity. Like the masses of Africans need to get together, but we have to understand how sick our people are from this miseducation and indoctrination, and how they work against their own interests. People, because one thing that frustrates me is when Black people, when they want to start talking, like they Black, like they with the Black community, but you don't hear anything from them. It's only when it's about their self-interest. It's some bougie shit to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay,
individualism of capitalism.
Yeah, it's that individualism. Now you want to make it about Black now, but now you feeling what the masses are feeling, like what we feel every day, but you now all of a sudden, because it's affecting you personally, now you're ready to get involved, you're ready to jump in. But if you ain't down with revolution, man, it's just like I ain't really trying to hear what you have to say. If you really about the Black community, all right, well, get down with the revolution, get down with creating a system of our own, because colonial capitalism ain't it. We can't identify, as I mentioned yesterday, we can't identify with our oppressor. We can't, the oppressor identifying as American and we saying that we're American, that's a serious contradiction. How are you identifying with your enemy? We can't do that. And so there's some serious work that we have to do as far as raising, our people's consciousness. I'm sorry, I went like around the world. But,
you did your thing. And, of course, we know that this is a short version of the show this on this beautiful day, this beautiful Friday. We all got 1,000 things to do because we organize. We have lives, you know what I'm saying? And we got to build like you all have to build. Make sure you check us out every Tuesday through Friday right here on Black Power Media, the Rise Up Morning Show. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. The information scrolling right across the screen at the bottom. We like to thank, our comrades. We have Fernando kicking it over in France. We got, Where's Bona t-shirt. So hopefully we'll see him in the next couple of days. Kimba and Natasha doing their thing inside of this particular colony. We are very grateful. And we hope that you all are too. Make sure you download the latest issue of the magazine. Some real dope articles. Again, it is Afropiq, and you can download it at patreon.com/Black Power Media Reloaded. Patreon.com/Black Power Media Reloaded. And Natasha got something to say, so y'all better listen.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say before we before we sign off that this this weekend, on the 8th. We're going to the 28th, actually, tomorrow. Baina Bello will be at the Center for Cultural, Spiritual, and Traditional Inc. That is in partnership with CUNY, the CUNY's Haitian Studies Institute. And it's going to be at Brooklyn College Student Center, and it's going to be their annual conference, and she's going to be talking about the role of our female heroes alongside those of our male ancestors in the fight for freedom. And so when we're talking about unification, we're talking about African unity. That's a very important thing to learn about, to know about, because like we were talking about before, there's so much miseducation around it, and there's so much that people think today that is not true about, how we as males and females work together in our freedom fight, in our fight for freedom, and continue to do so. So please check it out if you're in Brooklyn on tomorrow, on Saturday, September 28th, from 5 to 8 p.m. at Brooklyn College.
Listen, you want to make sure you check out. If you guys don't know about Baina Bello, you're slipping. Matter of fact, I think Baina Bello was probably in our intro or outro of Rise Up Morning Show. She is one of the foremost authority on Haiti in regards to revolution. I know that Natasha mentioned women freedom fighters. She has a book called Sheroes of the Haitian Revolution. Make sure if you don't have that in your library, then you need to upgrade. I'll just tell y'all that right now. And she's been on the platform in the past. We're working on getting her back on the platform. I had on RSTV maybe about 2 years ago. So you can look up Baina Bello and RSTV or Black Power Media, whatever. But she definitely, she's one of, to me, she's one of those sisters. Her and I would say Marimba Ani are two of our greatest living freedom fighters and scholars, on a whole nother level when we talk about being African and being unapologetic about being African. So definitely check out Baina Bello if you're in Brooklyn. I'd also like
be at Nicholas on Sunday also.
It should be at Nicholas on Sunday in Brooklyn. If you're in Brooklyn, you know what time it is. So you can't be talking about you missed it, because it should be there twice. Also want to point out next week, October 4th, we have a rally for Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly known as H. Rap Brown, here in Atlanta at the Malcolm X Park, in the west end of Atlanta, on Oak Street, 1111 Oak Street. Make sure you come out to that particular piece. We will be commemorating Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly H. Rap Brown's 81st birthday. He'll be 81 on October 4th. Of course, we know he's still a political prisoner. So make sure if you're in Atlanta, man, meet me there. You know what I'm saying? Don't meet me there. Also, next week on the platform, we have a special broadcast. We're doing a virtual living tribute for one of our OGs, Bilal Sunni Ali. This will be next week, October 6th. On October 6th, make sure you all stop through and get down with the Get Down. Very necessary platform. Bilal Sunni Ali is a veteran freedom fighter, veteran of the Black Panther Party. He's the Emir of the Imam Jamil Action Network. He is also a world-renowned musician. He was a part of Gil Scott-Heron's Midnight Band. They played together for years. He played with everybody from Pharoah Sanders to Stevie Wonder to what's my man name with the orchestra out in New Orleans. Who am I thinking about? I have his head in his name in my joint. Such and such in the orchestra, Arkestr. Yeah, I can't think of the joint, but anyway, he's been putting out serious music, serious work. He's one of my OGs, who I've learned from. One of the reasons why I'm here in Atlanta. He's been ill for a while, so we want to raise some resources for him. We're going to have all types of different freedom fighters and artists coming through to show respect to this brother. So make sure that you tune in on October 6th. I believe it's at 4 p.m. I could be mistaken. Don't quote me on it. Just check the page, Black Power Media Reloaded on YouTube. Anyway, we appreciate you all checking in and rocking with us today. This has been the Rise Up Morning Show. Have a powerful weekend, or as the comrades say, strong in, whatever you want to call it. Just stay safe out there, because the police is full of shit. The government is even worse, and we're just out here trying to do our things. And as our comrade Daruba would say, a revolutionary is never a victim. So we ain't got no victims around here. Y'all stand up, rise up. See y'all soon. Rise Up Morning Show.
Rise up.
Bang. Okay, I forgot what the button at.
Rise up.
Somebody rearrange.
Sometimes the riot is a quiet one. Well, the battle is to love yourself and function in society where voices of reason are muted by anxiety, like gaining notoriety is selling your soul. So we tend to go no deeper than the shallow water level, trying to keep us overhead in the face of all the slurs and the stares. Mentally frozen, paralyzed by fear of failure and success. So we lock, stock, barrel, running while it's crumbling. All these towers and they're babbling, but the baby's in the bath and the stash under the bed on my head, spinning from the circles and the puppets and the strings that they pull. Then we move. Reactionary warfare never produces winners on the field. Feeble and foolish, what tools and what weapons are we using? We need some new ones. Real revolution, it's real solutions. Well, we've taken on the ways of the ones who conquer with their guns and religion and division. Got my inner me looking like my enemy. Real revolution, where my inner me really a mirror for the galaxy. New time, brand new paradigms, new contracts to sign. They thought that this would all be televised, though it's happening right before our very eyes. It's on the inside, with their guns cocked. When that rock drops, standing on the rooftop, praying that the mountaintop can live inside the valley. People tell me the reward is somewhere off in heaven, like heaven's only in the sky, like chariots are swinging, like God is something separate from yourself, from your wealth, from your lover, from your neighbor. Oh, your savior is coming in your own name, coming with the face the same. Real revolution, it's real solutions. Where we've taken on the ways of the ones who conquer with their guns and religion and division. Got my inner me looking like my enemy. Real revolution, where my enemy is really a mirror for the galaxy.